What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Price to Sell podcast. I think I'm your host, Matthew Campoli. And today, we're back again with another great guest. We have, you might have seen her ripping houses apart and putting them back together and doing some amazing feats and accomplishing some pretty cool things in a short span of time. We have Huda here from the agency. Welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I think I'm your guest today, too.
Yeah, I think I'm the host. I think you're the guest.
Yeah, I think so.
I guess we'll let everyone figure it out.
As we go
I hope
along.
this is a real estate podcast.
We'll see where it takes us.
Yeah. Okay. Hopefully we talk about real estate. But yeah, thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. If you want to give a little bit of a brief background into like who Huda is, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. So long story short, I'm going to try to summarize this as much as I can. I am a Muslim South Asian woman. I like to address that because a lot of my career and everything that I've done in the last 10 years has been focused on really breaking a lot of stereotypes and just stepping outside of the box, I like to say. And it's taken me a lot of guts and a lot of courage to be able to do that. And I've done that throughout the course of my life in every career I've stumbled upon. And I say that because I've had multiple careers before I started real estate. And each career has actually taught me so much about where I am now. So I also like to share my age because I feel like my life really did start late. And I think a lot of people have this notion that by a certain age, you're supposed to have certain things accomplished. And I like to break that down. So I like to start my life at 35, which was just like 2 years ago during COVID, where a lot of people's life fell apart. I was amongst them as well. I was going through a separation. I didn't really have any of my career sorted out. I had just ended about a 10-year stint of running an HR recruitment company.
That's cool.
So I've been an entrepreneur like all my life, and I've held a job for maybe like 8 months. I don't really know how to listen to directions, or I've never had a boss. So I went through a period of like, what do I do with my life? And around that time, I was trying to figure it out. But COVID hit, and I went through a separation, and honestly, I was house poor. Me and my husband were really house poor. We were going through a lot of financial crises, and during COVID, I was going through a separation. And during that time, having no job, having no career, and turning 35 was like deep depression, really being rock bottom and trying to figure out what I was going to do. So from there till now, which has been just shy of 2 years, I've stumbled upon real estate investing, and kind of kept the same ethos, which has been, how do I impact more women and how do I do something that's impactful? That's what it led me to, which is real estate investing, and vice versa, helping specifically women get into real estate investing. But prior to that, I had a little fun like career move. I was an influencer, what they call, or whatever it was, and that led me to some really, really cool opportunities. I did that for a bit and realized that I wasn't really happy with the impact it was creating online. I have 3 kids. They're teenagers, and having a daughter really woke me up to like what I was representing, what I was putting out there. And my Instagram sort of like brand has been growing along with me every move that I make in the last 10 years. So I got out of that influencing space really fast. And and then after that, me and my sister, right before COVID, started a travel company called A Girls Trip. And we wanted to allow women to travel to bucket list destinations, kind of, see the world, and making it affordable through a financial plan. We did that. We were featured on like CTV News and Yahoo News, and press covered us like literally 7 months after our launch. And then COVID hit. So like, I feel like that's the trend. And then COVID hit with everything, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's sort of like a synopsis of, so hard to round up your life in like a couple of sentences, but I hope that gives you a good idea of.
No, I was good. I need maybe like 3 more sentences. I'm kidding. Yeah, it's an amazing story. And you're with the agency now?
I am.
And practicing real estate for how long?
Officially, I would say since I got my license, just over a year. But prior to that, I was in like the real estate mortgage finance industry. So I got a chance to see some really cool stuff happening. That led me to like this awakening of, oh my God, you can use money as a tool and actually gain some freedom in life, not just financial freedom, but like the freedom to be able to choose how you want to live and how you want to show up. And it just completely changed my life.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, like what grabbed my attention, and this is probably gonna wow a lot of people too, because this is like astonishing, is you got 5 properties within a year.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So we'll get into that, but what was like the pivotal moment for you where it's like you realize like, okay, this real estate thing is my move. Like I'm gonna, this is what's gonna get me moving out of my current situation. Like what was that moment for you?
So I think for me, when I was like in the process of figuring out what I want to do with my life, I knew that I didn't want to have a cap on my income. I think once you understand, once you've been an entrepreneur, you've been in sales, you're used to this flow of ups and downs, and you realize that you don't want to just be stuck at a number. So real estate made sense. I was like, okay, so if I get into real estate, you know, it's unlimited in terms of what I earn. So that was like the first thing, that was the deciding factor. But 2, I just watched this friend of mine just completely crush it. I remember I was going through my separation, and we had taken like a girls trip to Montreal, and we were driving back in our nice like car, and I was just like, girl, like, how are you doing? Like, tell me more. Like, what are you doing? And she's like, well, I've been doing real estate for 2 years. And I was blown away, because this was a friend that I saw growing up, and I saw her quit her call center job to now just being in charge of her own life, and watching another woman be so powerful. It was like, well, I want that too. How did you do it? And I think that was also a start to start thinking about real estate. But I would say most of all, I got a job with like a finance mortgage company. And I watched a lot of newcomers and wealthy people take their money and invest it. And I remember growing up, like, you know, money is just not spoken about. Money is hidden. Money is not necessarily bad, but it's something so uncomfortable to talk about. You don't talk about it. So when I watched sort of like that journey take place and watched people invest and what they did with their money, I just thought to myself, I'm like, I don't know what I did with all of the money that I made when I was in my 20s. It was spent on my feet and my purses and, you know, just the usual notion of being young and kind of splurging it. But when I saw other people take that money and invest it, I quickly started to realize how money can work for you and what it can do for you. And all of a sudden, I wasn't attracted to things anymore and materialistic things, which is the misconception. You think the more you make, the more you want to go buy, you know, things. But I think once you truly start understanding money, you actually want to invest in assets, and you want to protect your money, and you want to spend it on something that will give you freedom. And I think once my mindset started changing around that, that's when real estate became a legitimate like hustle. And I was like, I want to do this thing.
I love it. Yeah, money mindset. It's a thing.
It's a huge thing. I actually just did an event with a money coach, and we were going through money mindset, and she asked like these 3 questions, and one of the question was, you know, tell me about your mom's money mindset growing up, your dad's money mindset growing up, and what you think money was growing up. And when I put those things together and I was writing them down, and I was like, you don't even realize how mundane your life is and how many times you start saying the same thing in your life based on how you grew up, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, money mindset is huge.
Yeah, that was like me too. Like I had to like identify like the must be nice or the they're lucky or rich people are assholes. You know, growing up with those things. Yeah. So we've all been there, and then we're not taught this stuff in school.
No.
Unfortunately. Why? I don't know. They want to keep us.
That's a whole nother.
That's not the Price to Sell podcast. I don't know. I'm not gonna say.
That's another one for another day.
But yeah, let's get into like scaling to the 5 properties within a year. I think that's incredible feat. How did that start? How did that happen?
My first property was a pre-con. I didn't have the money, and I realized through my life that you can't just do things on your own. You need a team. And so I pitched my sister. I said, listen, we've got a pre-con opportunity. It's like $40K down. I do 20, you do 20, let's do it. Fortunately, during the time of COVID, builders were a little bit more lenient, and payment plans and deposit plans were a little bit better. So the deposit plan was spread out over 6 months, which meant like each payment was like 10 grand. I hustled and I saved aggressively in order to do that. that was my first property, and that was right before I got my real estate license. Once I got my real estate license, I was driving for dollars and I saw a property listed, and it was right at the turn of when the market was going to come up. And I called up the agent and I just said, listen, I saw this property. We're really interested. I didn't have the money once again. It was a 20% down deal. I had 10%. Out of that 10%, that 10% was actually a bank loan that I had gotten on my business. See, this is stuff no one talks about. It was a business loan, and I took that business loan and invested it into a property. And I, once again, reached out to a family member. I said, it's 20% down. Do you want to go in at 10%? Kind of hustled the deal and bought my first actual resale home. Saw the potential, decided to do a flip. The market was just right, spent about $30K in renos, which we did out of a line of credit.
Okay.
And we went back in the market and we sold it for triple of what I thought. It was just right at the cusp of when.
So you hit perfect timing.
It's just perfect timing. It's luck, it's timing, it's experience, it's everything. And that gave me sort of like the leeway to then take that money and go invest into multiple. And I think it's the first step. It's taking the risk. And I know a lot of people, when they ask me, like, how did you do it? And I tell them they're waiting for like some big, it's not, I asked someone for money.
Yeah.
I went back and pitched my family. I took the risk on the money that I had. Once I put that money down, I was literally going to have nothing. But it's being able to take the action to do it. So once we did that, we had the bandwidth to then go invest in 2 other flips. So all within a period of, I would say, 14 months, we went from 1 pre-con to 3 flips and invested in another pre-con. So it was a snowball effect. And I've heard this a lot on podcasts and real estate investing. It's all about momentum. I'm sure you can agree, you invest as well too.
Definitely, yeah.
Once you do one, you find
You're
ways
hooked.
to do the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you get less scared.
Definitely.
Once you see the rewards too, right? That's honest. That's so amazing. Congrats on that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I mean, I sold one of my pre-cons, the fix and flip. The first one we made great profits on. The second one, the market started crashing down, so we didn't do so well. And I'm very honest with this because I think real estate investing, you really have to have thick skin to be able to take the wins and take the losses.
Yeah, for sure.
I think when you're first thinking about real estate and you're thinking about investing, you have this theory that, I'm just going to invest and all of a sudden money's going to show up in my bank account. You have to have the risk appetite to be like, if that doesn't happen, am I sort of like secure?
Yes.
I think, like you mentioned before we got on the podcast, you're just someone that just does it. You don't really think. I'm the same way. If someone told me all of these things, I would have maybe thought about it a couple of times. But because I didn't know, I kind of just went all in. And when the risk came and the losses came, I was like, why didn't anyone tell me this?
Yeah.
But I think that's what makes a real estate investor, right? You just go in, you trust your gut, and you do it for the first time. And then the ball kind of rolls down.
Yeah, and you adapt, and it builds your character. And you can't, like, speaking from experience is way better than just, reading an article and like guessing like, oh, this might not work because of this. Like, just throw yourself in there. Now you can come from experience, and like people will resonate a lot more with that because you've done it versus someone who may preach it because they read a book.
Yeah.
Or, they've done a course, right?
You know those people we've all been there when we just like research the hell out of something and then you just never start because you're so busy researching.
Every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too. I mean, but I think when you get into real estate, when you do it, you're like, okay, I'm done with the research. I'm just going to do it. And I think that's the difference in anything you do in life. It's the action versus the research.
Exactly. So where were these flips?
So the first one was in the East End in Oshawa. The second one was in Newmarket. And the third one was in Oshawa too. Durham was like I lived in Durham for a really long time. I saw the potential and just got great deals. I don't really necessarily think the flips and the investing has to do certain particular markets. It's wherever you find a good deal. When I talk to my investor clients too, they're like, is it a good time to buy? I'm sure you have these conversations all the time. If you're getting a good deal, it's a good deal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Period.
literally.
Right?
Literally.
It's that simple.
Yeah, you can't overcomplicate it. Even now, with just this current market too, it's like, it's on a discount. Like, this property is on a discount, right? And what's your appetite? Like, are you in this long term? Buy it, Yeah. I think everyone's thinking about like, they're super like narrow minded and thinking about it like today and then tomorrow and then maybe in a month it might drop or, things like that. But you can't get fixated on those things.
I agree completely. Yeah. I think once you do get fixated on something, you can spend way too much time talking yourself out of it and the opinion of others. I think if you're a newbie and you're just starting to get into, and I think as a real estate agent, it's super important to be investors ourselves if you can eventually with time, right?
Yeah.
The economy's changing, the look and feel of a real estate agent is changing. Like, I mean, look at you, you're wearing this nice sweater and jeans. I've seen your videos, right? They're not with like a suit.
Yeah.
The concept of a real estate agent are more qualified, educated, up-leveled. Well, I'd hope so anyways. And so we're much more, invested in our own journey as well.
For sure. And my mom bought me this shirt.
Oh,
So
I like it.
She texted me the other day. She's like, Matt, I haven't seen you wear the shirt yet. I'm like, you're right. I'll wear it today.
We're on a podcast. We'll be everywhere.
So there you go, Ma. Here's the shirt. Thank you for this Christmas gift. But so for people out there who are looking to maybe buy a fix and flip, let's walk them through like a Cole's Notes sort of process on how to do it, things to look out for, maybe what to like do's and do nots. Let's take them through it.
I'm the fix and flip expert now. I feel like everyone calls me, should I buy this property? I'm like, listen, it's not that simple. There's a lot of, if you had to break it down, you want to make sure you're in a good neighborhood. I think that's, you can have like the shittiest house in the greatest neighborhood. You'll come out winning because of appreciation and just being in the right spot. So location is key. Number 2, cosmetic versus gut jobs. I noticed the first fix and flip we did was cosmetic and it got us the most return. It was easy, a great first investment because it didn't require a whole gut job and things that I didn't know. It taught me a lot.
Yeah.
Number 3, if you are going to do a gut job, make sure you have calculated approximate idea of how long the job is going to go for. This one I learned the hard way and everyone told me, but I didn't listen, is just time period. You might have it in your calculations and your project management that you're going to be done in 1 month. I guarantee you it's going to take 3 months. So, be prepared for that. Have good contractors, which are really hard to find. I think if it's your first time flipping, you might want to do it if you have someone in your corner that understands sort of, construction. My husband is great at all of this stuff. So a lot of the stuff that we couldn't outsource or we didn't want to outsource, he did it himself. And I think that's where we saved the most amount of money. And also it taught us a lot. So I think with fix and flips, it can be tricky. In this market, I'm not sure if that's like the ideal strategy based on everything that's going on. So I wouldn't recommend it now. There's a time and place for everything. But I would say the right timing and with all the little things that we did, it worked out for us. And that would be my advice. Timing, location, budget, contractors, give yourself enough time to carry the mortgage, the expenses, the utilities, have some money on the side if in case anything happens. My second flip that I did, we were in the market, everything done, staging, photography, 2 minutes, like literally as soon as we went on market, we had our first showing and I get a call. There's a leak and the walls are all ruined and the roof is falling down. We had a leak and we didn't even know. It was just like things just happen out of nowhere. And all of a sudden the listing had to come off the market. We spent another 10 grand fixing the roof and fixing the leak. So you need to have a little bit of cash put aside to make sure you do the right flip.
And some tough skin.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, it just depends, right? If you're investing for the first time or if you're a seasoned investor. I think you're asking me if you're a first-time investor, if you wanted to do a fix and flip, what would be some points? And I think that's what I would recommend.
Yeah, awesome. I think, those are like the main things to look out for. I think that'll be super helpful. And I do want to...
So when are we doing our first flip?
Whatever you want. I have a listing right now on Dundas.
First, I gotta go to Florida with you and check out your Airbnb.
Yeah, definitely. As you're saying gut job, I'm like, I got a gut job. It's ready to go. But I want to...
I don't like them anymore, though.
The gut jobs?
I'm just not going to do... for the time being, I'm more into the passive income, the Airbnb. Once we got to our 4th property, our 5th one was an Airbnb in Muskoka. So,
let's just talk about that.
Okay.
Let's talk about that a bit.
Okay.
That's super interesting, too. Is it like a waterfront? Is it just in Muskoka?
I
Whereabouts?
wish it was a waterfront. So again, like you start off slow. We wanted to invest in a waterfront. The price tag was too high. We calculated how much mortgage and utility would the Airbnb income cover it. So we went with something a little bit less. We bought our Airbnb for $645, and it's 10 minutes from Gravenhurst. You can walk to the beach. It's in the heart of Muskoka. So location, again, is ideal. We spent about $20K in just making it aesthetically pleasing, and we went on market, and this Airbnb is split with 2 other partners. So again, it was a 20% down. I really wanted to get my feet into Airbnb. Instead of doing it alone, you just got to find like-minded people. One of the investors is my sister. One of the other investor is my best friend. We all think alike. We all are married with partners. The partners took on some responsibilities. The girls like revamped the space to make sure it's live on social, it looks good, it feels good. And we said, let's do it. And within a few months we were closed and we got into an Airbnb, and I'm like, yay, I did it, you know?
Yeah.
So that was really cool. But yeah, Airbnb is something super interesting for me.
So how's that been going?
Good. We've been breaking even. It's been less than a year since we've been on market. We still haven't had a spring and summer season, so we don't know the full potential of it. We've just done literally fall and winter. Airbnb platform, when we launched, we didn't have any reviews. We weren't Superhost status. So when we launched, a good friend of mine rented out the first weekend to support, which was great. But after she rented out, being in the fall market with no reviews and no Superhost status, it took us a while. We knew it, but thankfully, we were still rented out. But now that we finally reached Superhost status, we're getting like good, consistent bookings. I'm going to give it a year and a half, 2 years, a full season to come back on this podcast and tell you how much money and how we're doing and how the Airbnb is doing. But overall, I think it's a solid investment. It's long-term. It breaks even every month. And we're excited to see where it goes this spring and summer.
Yeah, I've had that before. Like I had my Airbnb during COVID.
Oh.
Right.
Oh.
And yeah, so world's shut off, and I'm like, what do I do? And thank God, my boy Zoe, shout out to you, buddy. He rented it from me.
Oh, nice.
Because he just wanted to quarantine in downtown.
Yeah.
Right. And so he helped me out a lot, and I still wasn't breaking even, but even when he left, I was still able to get some people in there. But I just knew the potential. I'm like, when this world does come back, like super long-term thinking, super forward thoughts, right?
Yeah.
And now it's crushing it. So
Gotta be patient with
how did you hit Superhost?
You need a solid, I believe, 10 or 12. My other business partner manages the Airbnb. In order to get you need a 5-star reviews, 10 or 12 in a row to get Superhost status.
Very cool.
So we were very diligent with our customer service. We made a welcome package. We checked up on them, anything extra and everything you can do. And we've traveled and stayed in so many Airbnbs that looking at it as a customer point of view, we just knew what we wanted to offer. So yeah, as soon as we reached Superhost status, that took us to another level. And another thing that we just recently tried is we had an influencer that actually had really great impact, stay and share content on TikTok. It went viral, and the next day we had like 6 bookings.
It's such a hack.
It's so crazy,
no,
right?
It's literally like the way to go. 100%.
Yeah. So that was really cool, and we're going to continue our influencer partnerships this year as well. And I think that's a really good way to build creative relationships and then stand out and let the referral continue on rather than just being on a hosting platform.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole Airbnb game.
Yeah.
Like, you got to mix that stuff in. Like I had a videographer stay in my Florida house for free, and he made a ton of content with his girlfriend and lifestyle, right? Because Airbnb is about the experience, and you got to showcase the lifestyle. And so he had her like at the beach, like playing pool on the pool table, them in the backyard, like laughing, having fun. So we haven't launched that content yet, but that stuff will work, right?
It does. I mean, people picture it. They want somewhere beautiful, nice to stay. Content is always the best way to grow your business, right?
Yeah.
And that's how I grew my business in my first year of real estate. It was just all content.
And they usually say if there's like a price to sell sign in the Airbnb, it'll kill it. Like you'll get like 6 stars.
You're gonna send me that sign.
Yeah. It's not working today. Actually, it is. Maybe for you on camera, it is. Not in real life. But we won't tell you that secret. But let's go into. I want to talk about. So now you transition to real estate, and I think what you said earlier was super important. Like for realtors out there, like if you're not investing yourself, do it because number one, it's the easiest, best way to learn is to do things on your own. And in theory, like, yeah, it's cool. Like, numbers, cash flow makes sense. But if you're actually doing it, it makes such a difference. And I love the shirt. And in terms of gaining new clients, like the trust factor, when people see you doing it, you're going to get like so many more people actually reaching out to you. So how was that for you now? Because you were posting, you have all these videos of you going through the process of your house, and you said that your social media did really well for you because you had a lot of people reach out to you and did a lot of business.
Yeah.
So let's talk on that. Then let's transition to like the women thing.
Okay. Okay. So I have a question for you off record. Do you believe in like the whole
Well,
fake
we're
it
on
till you
record.
make? Oh, we are. Okay. We're always on record.
But-
fake it till you make it. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't think there's harm in it. For
Is
example,
like, would you do that?
yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, like if in terms of like when I first started real estate, I was going into other people in my office, their listings, and just be like, just listed, just listed. No one has to know it's not mine. If you check it on MLS, it's not mine. If you ask me, I'll tell you it's not mine. But the perception is that it's mine.
Absolutely.
So if that's what you believe, that's what you believe.
Okay. I was just asking that because when I got into real estate,
Yeah.
like I would still say like less than 2 years officially, like with my license, just over a year. A lot of the advice that I got was like, just never tell anyone how long you've been in real estate. And I would have done that if I didn't have the background, but because I was a year in the same kind of industry and I invested myself, I was very honest the way that I showed up online. And I think because people watched the journey of me getting my license and sort of starting investing, there was so much trust built on the fact that, okay, you're not just a real estate agent trying to sell me, you're investing yourself. So I'm going to listen to you, and I don't necessarily want to buy right now or sell right now, but I'm curious to know what you have to say.
Yeah.
And on the on my part, I never felt like a newbie. I don't know why. I just felt like I knew my shit. And I wouldn't have known my shit unless and until I started investing and really being honest with myself about what I know, what I don't know, and sharing what I learned and sharing the process as I go along. People are genuinely very interested in the process. They don't want to see you when you've reached your heights. They want to see you in reaching your heights.
Exactly, yeah.
And once I was like, okay, people are really enjoying this, that's when I started sharing more of the flips, the fix, the renos, the Airbnb. And every time someone reached out, it was more like, what do you think I should do? And I knew when people started asking, what do you think I should do? They valued and respected my opinion. So I felt like I never had to go online to constantly, I'm a real estate agent, look at my listing, look at this. And I think genuinely that's not my cup of tea. I'm not that person that just always is out there selling. I like to just build relationships. And I think that's the key as a real estate agent is you're building key relationships along the way, and you'll never feel like you're actually selling. So I would say 99% of my business came through Instagram, and it's wild when I think about it now too. And I'm just like, I can't believe I did transactions through Instagram, even though I understand content and I know that's the game, that's the name of the game now, but I didn't intentionally do it specifically to go out there and recruit and
business.
sell. Yeah, I was just being myself. And I think when you are comfortable in your skin, that's a part of your life and you're showing it constantly, people are genuinely interested. So
I think that whole thing is huge, what you just said. I think it's huge.
I hope
No,
so.
you know why? Because like because I can resonate with that heavily. Everyone asks me, it's like they're like, Matt, so like, what are your tricks and tips? Like, how do you get all this business from social? Like, what are you doing? Like, what's your strategy? What's this? And I'm sometimes in my head, I'm like, I don't know how to answer this. So I'll come up with things like yeah, you do this. But literally, all I did was be myself from day one and show my lows, highs, me, personal stuff. Like, this is just Matt. This is me at face value. This is me in person. How I am on here is how I am in real life, So, and that's why you're getting business, is because you're not trying to put on a different front of like, I'm a real estate agent, I'm going to sell. I sell. You're just Huda.
Yeah.
And you happen to sell real estate.
Yeah,
That's like
that's a big one. What you said, like just you are who you are online versus offline. That's huge. You don't like. I think once you have a little bit of a following, people tend to think that you're a different person
For sure.
Online versus in person.
Yeah.
But when you can show up being the same person online, it's incredible how many things around you change. Not just real estate, but your personal life, your career, your relationships, your health. Just everything just changes when you can show up as yourself. But I do think it takes a certain awakening to find and be yourself, because we're always hiding from ourselves, right? I know we're getting
Yes.
into mindset, but I'm just saying it's equally as important in business, because your business, especially being in real estate, the business never ends. So when you talk to someone in the morning versus the PM versus nighttime, evening, you're just constantly wearing your business mask, because that turns into your personal relationship and it flows through there, right?
Yeah.
So I agree. I mean, I think being online, it can be so intimidating. And I meet so many real estate agents that are like, I don't know how to be online, but then there's agents that are constantly online and it works really well. And I think with podcasts and you interviewing different guests, this is meant to be our personal experience. So this is what worked for me. I'm sure if I was showing great properties all the time on my feed, I'd probably attract a different type of clientele that, you know, is devoted to that type of content and that type of sale. But if I'm showing who I am, I'm attracting a completely different clientele, which is what works for me.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the key.
Yeah.
And it's simple.
What works for you?
What works for me?
Yeah.
Just being weird.
Yeah.
Just being extremely weird and putting it out there, you know? That's
Yeah.
just me. I'm a weird guy.
Someone loves it.
Yeah, people like it, I guess. Especially my mom. Look at the shirt she bought me, you know?
Parents are the biggest cheerleaders.
Yeah. But yeah, like the Airbnb thing, like I just became like one of the guys now because I niched into it and I'm like, I love it. I'm passionate about this. This is cool. Let me showcase my journey. That was it. Literally, I just videotaped a couple things. I'm doing it anyways.
It's
know?
simple.
Yeah.
It's simple.
And then I've talked about my failures. Like when I got the Florida house, I went out and said, slow start. Like, you know, it looks great. Louis Vuitton wall, it's great. But slow start. We had no ratings, no bookings. Like we had to eat it a little bit. Now it's picking up. But, you know, March is killing it. April, I have nothing. We'll see. You know,
Yeah,
that's just how
March
it
is killing it for me too.
Yeah.
April, I've got 2 influencer collabs.
There
So
you go.
we'll
Maybe
see
I
what
should.
happens.
I might have to do the same thing. But let's end it off here with, because I think this is super important, and I love how you're doing this, and I'm sure a lot of women out there, especially, will appreciate it. Is your goal and your journey in helping women build wealth?
Absolutely.
So let's end off with that.
Oh my God, so passionate about this because I don't think there's enough of it. There's some really great women doing great work. I just want to move the dial.
Yes.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
I mean, just like what you're doing with your podcast, you want to spread the education, you want to spread what you're doing and teach people. I'm passionate about just helping women move the dial in every aspect of their life. And so I built the concept Wellthy Women, and it's spelled with a W-E-L-L because I truly believe in order to be wealthy, which is, well,
I get it.
Yeah,
I'm
like
I
well-being.
had to spell for a second. We're good.
I just believe that in order to attain any sort of financial freedom, you have to be right. You have to be in the right, you have to be in the right mindset. It all starts with the basics. You can't just attain this big financial goal without working on the basics. So the Wellthy Woman is worthy, wealthy, and world class because I think
Love it.
every woman should be first wealthy from a mindset perspective, and then work on, you need all of these 3 things in order to really lead a life of success and whatever that success means to you. So my mission is, and I've niched from the day one, I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing, but it's worked for me. I started speaking out that I want to help women not just build real estate wealth, but also do well financially and get that education. So I now do Wellthy Women events where I bring in a speaker that talks about financial education, talks about why credit and savings and investing is important. And eventually I want to start building an online community where there's courses and podcasts and sort of, going into a general sort of education, not just real estate, which I believe is one of the key pillars in order to gaining financial wealth is real estate. But at the same time, there's so many other characteristics of wealth that people don't know about. We're not given enough information about how to save. If you're not in a position to save or meet your monthly income, and with inflation, what can you do? Can you add another income? Can you do something else? Can you get creative? So just toying around those ideas all the time. And that's kind of been this new chapter of my life, which I want to devote my time. And it goes a little bit more deeper than just a transaction, right? I think as a real estate agent, you can be the greatest real estate agent and sell multiple homes. But how long, what's beyond within? Like, are you going to build a team? Are you going to open up an office? Are you going to, what is beyond. And I've always thought that, what impact do I want to leave? Where do I want to go with real estate? What do I want it to turn out and reflect on me? Is it just transactional? Or do I want more other than just a good, healthy bank account? I want more than that. I want to leave impact in woman's life. I want someone to be like, I bought this property and someone showed me how I can take this property and refinance it, buy another property. I want that sort of legacy to be left behind.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And you have the story to back it too, right? Like you've been there. So like you're passionate about it because like you've hit that point.
Yeah.
So again, it's not like you're just coming from like in theory, this is what works. It's like, I've been there. I got myself out of it. Look at me now.
Yeah.
And look where I'm headed.
Absolutely. I would just say also, like, if you have had that experience and you're shying away from telling your story to anyone out there, please don't, because you just don't know who's going to resonate. And I know a lot of realtors listen to your podcast. If you're new in the game or if you're seasoned and you're not using your story to your advantage, please do, because you just don't, people appreciate that so much. And I think I was listening to Viola Davis's book and I heard it's like incredible. I'm listening to the audiobook and she talks about the hero journey. And she talks about that, you know, every hero journey starts off with this hero being completely lost, knowing that they have this incredible potential, but they never know what to do with it till one day they're in the trenches and their life turns completely, you know, upside down, and they find this new purpose and calling through that experience. And then they come back and they share it with the world. That's like the hero journey. And if you think about anyone that's making impact or doing something great with their life, it's typically that journey. And the thing is, it's not someone special that needs to have that story. Every single person has that story where they went through something that completely shaped them and they come out of it and share it. And a lot of people maybe don't share it as much as they should, because we all have a gift. And I think when you can share that, whether you're a real estate agent, whether you're an everyday person, you're going to create impact. And that's going to lead into your business, your personal life, and whatever else that you do.
Yeah, it's like a rebirth.
It is Rebirth. I actually have a story highlight on my
Rebirth?
thing called Rebirth.
I'm gonna watch your rebirth.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch you come back.
I'm going to hold you to that. The message you.
Yeah. Dean just.
Dean's like.
Yeah. He always cracks up on my stupid dad jokes all the time. Sorry, Dean. I know you love it though.
I'll message you in 2 weeks. So Matt, where's the rebirth?
So I'm at week 50. I'm 52 weeks back now.
But yeah, it is rebirth, right?
Yeah.
We all go through that. So yeah, that's just part of my journey.
But that's the thing. Like I always tell people too. People have like the problem with just comparing. Like they're just stuck comparing and like it's like shit. I'm not like this person. This. Like I always tell people like. So that's what especially social media. It's a highlight reel. People aren't going to, unless you're on a platform like a podcast where you can have a conversation, or they have an opportunity to hop on as a guest and like actually tell their story, or they go about it on their own and you know put it on their social media. Like here was me, 2020. Here's me now. A lot of people are just showing like, here I'm successful. Look at me. But I guarantee it, all those people have hit rock bottom. You know.
Yeah.
So the people who are out there just comparing like. Oh, like that person is like selling like doing 100 deals a year, and like I'm only doing 3. Like, there's probably a reason why they're so fired up to go get those 100 deals, because they don't want to go back to a point in life where they didn't have that, you know.
Yeah.
So
I think also, like, I mean, when you are on social media and you're a real estate agent, I noticed a lot of the following you attract is realtors, right?
Yes.
But what I found was before I became a real estate agent, I had this community of just people that were following me, sharing my real life story. So I didn't start off my social media account as a realtor. Otherwise, I think I would have had a lot of realtors, but I actually have a lot of just regular everyday people. So I think when I went into real estate, like the deals came in because I had a lot of the audience that just weren't real estate agents. And I was just thinking about this. I think it's really important to build that community as well, because if all you do is talk about real estate all the time, people want to know more about you. And I think when you get into, you know, you're great at social media, you've talked about this, they keep pushing, like show your everyday life, not just every day, but show what other interests you have so people can relate and they can start talking to you. And then you carry on that relationship, right? So
exactly.
I don't know. Everything's not what it looks like on social media, but at the same time, you can change that.
You can.
You really can.
You really could.
Right? And more and more people are now starting to go on other platforms like TikTok because it's more real and you're watching people's videos versus Instagram. So the whole game has changed anyways.
Yeah.
So you might as well be real, talk about what you want to talk about, and let the crowd follow.
Exactly. I love it.
I love it too.
You've been awesome.
Thank you. Thank you for, I feel like I just chatted my way through, which I don't know.
I know. We had, we couldn't get in touch before. And I always like to have a conversation with my guests. And this is the first time we actually didn't have a conversation, but we kind of just winged it. And this is like, this is a lot of fun. Okay. Like, this is great.
Okay, good.
This is like, I want to keep going, you know, but we have to be conscious of people's attention spans, and they suck.
Yeah, I know.
So,
I know. They
like,
really do.
But I'm sure you have a million new fans that are watching. So
thank you. Cross referencing.
And they're going to watch your Rebirth story highlight. Where can they find you?
Definitely on Instagram. Just my first and last name, Huda Lv. A lot of people tag me on Huda Beauty, which, if you know, is like a huge beauty account. And they're like, every time I see these tags, and I'm like, this has nothing to do with my life, but it's like makeup. So it's not Huda Beauty, it's Huda Lv, just my first and last name. I share everything on there. And I recently started a TikTok account that has nothing to do with real estate, but more so just living my life and traveling the world. So if you want to follow something else, it's Bucket List Brown Girl on TikTok.
Okay, cool. Love it. I'm going to follow you on there.
Okay, awesome.
You'll see my stupid videos too. All right, everyone. Thank you again for tuning in. I hope you guys loved this one, because I did. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, share it with your friends, family, and everything. Share it with everything. Also, leave us a 5-star review and share it. And that's it. Thanks. Have a good one.